My name is Michael Reynolds, and I'm a quantum physicist. For most of my life, I've trusted only what I could measure: equations, particles, and observable phenomena. Spirituality wasn't part of my vocabulary. I wasn't hostile toward religion, but I considered it a cultural framework rather than objective truth. God, the afterlife, divine beings, these were concepts I filed away as human constructs, nothing more than comforting narratives we tell ourselves. But everything I believed was upended on November 23rd, 2024. That's the day my heart stopped beating. And what I experienced in those moments between life and death has transformed every waking moment since. I had been working at the Svalbard research station in the Arctic Circle for nearly a month. Our small international team was investigating unusual quantum fluctuations emanating from far beneath the permafrost. These signals had been confounding the scientific community for months. Strange, coherent patterns that defied our understanding of quantum mechanics. They weren't random noise, they pulsated with an almost mathematical precision, like coded messages. Some colleagues theorized they were related to unknown magnetic field interactions, while others suggested quantum entanglement phenomena. But no theory fully explained what we were detecting. That morning, I woke with an inexplicable sense of unease, a heaviness I couldn't rationalize, exhaustion, perhaps. Weeks of 18-hour days in harsh isolation can affect anyone's mental state. I dismissed it, donned my thermal equipment, and joined my colleagues. We were pushing our instruments deeper than ever before, targeting a region where the signals were most intense. As we increased our scanning depth, strange things began happening. Equipment that had passed every diagnostic check suddenly malfunctioned. Our quantum sensors displayed impossible reading. Most disturbing of all, our communication systems began picking up fragmented sounds, whispering voices that none of us could identify or explain. At precisely 3:27 p.m., everything changed. One moment I was adjusting a sensor array, the next the ground beneath me collapsed. It wasn't a gradual fracture, but a sudden catastrophic failure, as if the permafrost had been hollowed out from below. I remember the momentary weightlessness, that suspended instant of recognition before gravity takes hold. The last sensation I recall was the panicked voice of my research partner through my headset, and then darkness consumed everything. But instead of pain or fear, I felt profound tranquility. I was somehow observing my own body from above, motionless, broken, half buried in the collapsed earth. Logic dictated panic, yet I felt only serenity. That's when I noticed them. Luminous figures stood silently at the edge of the chasm, watching me. They emitted a gentle radiance that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality around them. No words were spoken, but I understood instinctively that these beings existed beyond our physical dimension. Before I could process their presence, I felt myself drawn upward, away from my body and these mysterious observers. I was moving through what I can only describe as a corridor of living light. Not simply illumination, but conscious energy that resonated with a frequency I could feel rather than hear. I wasn't physically moving, yet I was being guided towards something immeasurable. Then I heard a voice, resonant yet gentle, authoritative yet kind. The moment it spoke, I recognized it without introduction. "Michael," he said, and I knew it was Christ. With that single word, every scientific certainty I'd built my life upon crumbled. Every doubt, every rational argument against faith, dissolved in his presence. I felt completely known. Every thought, every fear, every moment of skepticism laid bare. But instead of judgment, I experienced overwhelming acceptance. Then he spoke words that still echo through me. "What you are about to witness must be shared with others." The light corridor dissolved, and reality shifted around me. I found myself standing on solid ground that seemed almost alive beneath my feet, a surface that hummed with energy, as though the foundation itself was breathing. Christ stood beside me, his presence radiating peace and power in equal measure. Near him I felt shielded from harm, protected in a way I'd never experienced. He turned to me and said, "Look, Michael, see what has been concealed. Before me stretched a vast Arctic landscape, but with structures that defied explanation. Enormous crystalline walls rose from the tundra, too perfect in their geometry to be natural formations. They appeared deliberately positioned, like boundaries or containment structures. These barriers were established with purpose, Christ said solemnly. Soon humanity will attempt to breach them. Before I could question him, my perception expanded dramatically. Suddenly I was seeing beyond physical limitations, observing the Arctic from multiple dimensions simultaneously. Beneath those crystalline barriers lay massive structures, ancient complexes extending far deeper than our instruments could detect. Some resembled abandoned cities, others appeared as intricate monuments pulsing with dormant energy. These weren't human constructions, they predated our civilization by eons. Christ's voice cut through my astonishment. They were imprisoned long ago for humanity's protection. The vision shifted again. I watched as scientists, people exactly like my colleagues and me, probed deeper with advanced technology, believing they were making historic discoveries. In reality, they were disturbing ancient seals, awakening entities that had been deliberately contained. What I saw next filled me with primal terror. Within those subterranean structures moved beings of darkness, not extraterrestrial, not interdimensional, but something fundamentally opposed to light itself. They moved like sentient shadows through the ancient complexes, their very presence corrupting the surrounding matter. I understood intuitively that these entities had been imprisoned for a profound reason, and humanity was unwittingly releasing them. They believe they are uncovering knowledge, Christ said sadly. Instead, they are unleashing profound deception. The vision accelerated. I witnessed future news broadcasts announcing humanity's greatest discovery. Beneath the Arctic ice, global leaders proudly proclaimed contact with an ancient guardian species that promised to guide human evolution. These entities offered solutions to climate change, disease eradication, and unlimited clean energy. The world celebrated what they called the dawn of a new era, but I saw the terrible truth. These beings weren't benevolent guides. They were master deceivers. Christ showed me how people would eagerly embrace their offerings, believing they were accepting evolutionary advancement. In reality, each person who accepted their gifts surrendered something essential. Their spiritual connection grew dimmer. Their capacity for divine relationship faded. They remained physically alive but spiritually severed. Christ turned to me one final time, his expression reflecting immeasurable compassion and sorrow. You must warn them, he urged. Tell them what you've witnessed. Tell them to remain faithful to me, for soon the opportunity will vanish. Before I could respond, everything dissolved. The light receded, and I plummeted through darkness. I gasped desperately for air, and when my eyes opened, I was surrounded by medical personnel and my stunned colleagues. I later learned that my heart had stopped for 17 minutes, clinically dead with no vital signs, yet here I was, fully conscious and forever transformed. If you've stayed with me through this account, I thank you sincerely. I understand the skepticism my experience might provoke. I would have dismissed such a story myself mere months ago, but I'm compelled to share what I witnessed. And I believe you encountered this message for a reason. If my testimony resonates within you, if you feel that internal prompting, I urge you not to ignore it. Turn toward Christ today. Don't postpone this decision. Don't allow worldly promises to obscure spiritual reality. If you wish to hear similar testimonies, powerful accounts from people who've glimpsed spiritual realms and received urgent warnings about coming events, please subscribe to this channel. These aren't merely stories, they're divine alerts intended to awaken people before time expires. Please like this video, share it with someone you care about, and activate notifications to receive future testimonies. People deserve to know these truths, and collectively we can help disseminate them. Thank you for listening, and please remain steadfast in your relationship with Christ.